Anybody that's been following this David situation, unfortunately, I'm about to show you something that's going to really upset you. Because while we've all been at the courthouse seeing the most despicable images that I've ever seen in my life, we've been hearing these horrible text messages that proved that David clearly knew that Celeste was a minor and he continued engaging in an adult relationship with her for what seemed like years. Disgusting stuff, okay? The fact that this clown even had a music career to begin with is unfathomable to me. But we also heard about these people that enabled him. We heard about him making as much as $11.5 million over the course of 2 years. We also heard about the fact that apparently all of his management team and his mum jumped on Signal and encrypted apps once the body got identified. Now, we're hearing about all types of weird stuff. We're hearing that Robert Morgenroth from his management team from Mogul Vision had, luggage in his house. They thought David was living alone, but clearly this Rob guy was involved in his day-to-day management. He had a security guard that was apparently part of Operation Awesome, a plan that was, basically going to kidnap Celeste from her family home with the help of a security guard who was employed and paid by David's management team, Robert Morgenroth, okay, and Mogul Vision. Apparently, Mogul Vision made from $3.5 million to $4 million over the period of working with David when he made $11 million, okay? Absolutely gross stuff. But you know what's even worse? Some of the people, okay, the alleged long-time next-level manager, not his day-to-day manager, but the sort of the business manager, all right, from Mogul Vision, Josh Marshall, the guy at the very top of that organization by the sounds of it, he's been flexing. He's been counting cash. He's been making a whole bunch of bread and a whole bunch of money since David has been exposed for being a child murderer, and it boils my blood, and a lot of you are going to be very upset about what I'm about to show you. Now, there's nothing wrong with working hard, getting nice things for yourself. I work very hard, okay, and lots of people work hard. I've been doing YouTube for 10 years, okay? A nice car, nice watch, a nice little birthday celebration, whatever, it's cool, all right? I've never flown on a private jet. Sometimes I might go business class. But the fact that these guys are making money off this David situation and rubbing it in people's faces is crazy. So this has been going around, all right? This was more than a week ago that this has been going around, but I haven't had time to show it to you guys yet. But basically, this is David's longtime manager and Mogul Vision founder, Josh Marshall, and his wife, Dee, okay, appearing in a lifestyle video with Ziv Tamir, Ziv the watch guy. Now, I love watches, okay? I've never been on Ziv the watch guy's channel, but, I respect what he's doing. He showcases people's beautiful watch collections and the type of money they're making. But when you know the context of how these guys got their money and how they paid for it, I'm pretty sure that's a Birkin, right? Pretty sure that's a Birkin. But look at the state of this video that's been going around. And when you think that these people actually got rich off of working with David, they said in court that Mogul Vision, David was their only real client. All right? It's ridiculous. So look at this, and no doubt they've been making even more money since this has been going on. David's streaming numbers went through the roof, and then he got dropped by Interscope in December. Apparently, the label haven't paid him any money since the start of the year, and I don't know if that means that he's making even more money because he hasn't got to give the label any money from his music career. Maybe they handed back his masters and said, we don't want nothing to do with this tainted shit. But here's the thing. These folks are getting rich. Look at this.
Excuse me, kind couple. I absolutely love your styles, man. Oh my gosh, the money green dial. Is that what it is? Or the Rolex? Oh, the olive. Dude, that's my favorite Rolex right there. And I love the mini AP. And the I buy and sell high-end watches and diamonds. What do you guys do for a living?
I design heels.
Really? Yeah. That's so cool. And what about you?
I'm a stay-at-home dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what you do for a living. You're a stay-at-home dad. And look at the way she's laughing. No, he's not. No, he manages a child murderer. That's funny, isn't it? All right, that's funny. That's funny. Is that funny? People have said that I've made people have lied and said I was making jokes about this situation. Never was, never have. You'll never find any proof that ever happened because it did not ever happen, all right? Prove it. But these clowns, oh, it's so funny. Oh, let's reload it and play it again.
Really?
The way he pointed at her like, don't ask what I do for a living because it's fucking despicable. Because it's disgraceful. Because the way I made my money is disgraceful. She designs heels. I ain't never heard of her or her heels. I ain't never heard of her or her heels. She's nobody. She ain't nobody. That's his... Come on. Give me a break. Give me a break.
I design heels.
What do you guys do for a living?
I design heels.
Really? That's so cool. And what about you?
I'm a stay-at-home dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Same thing.
That's so cool, man.
No. Let's get her doing that again.
Really?
Yeah.
Same thing.
That's so
No. He actually manages a child murderer. No, he actually managed to enable the child murderer singer that killed a little girl that he groomed for years while this guy was working with him. This guy and Robert Morgenroth was working with this guy called David who groomed and murdered a child and chopped them up and put them in the front trunk of his Tesla for months while he just wandered around the world enabled by this clown. No. He's not really a stay-at-home dad. I fucking hate these people.
cool, man.
We are
Cool, man.
parents.
Yeah.
We're both parents. Oh, you're both parents, right? You're both parents. I saw some parents last week. Going through the worst thing I'd ever seen in my life.
But
Because of your client, stay-at-home dad. You better stay at home. He is stay-at-home dad because he is persona non grata in these streets. He better stay at home dad because he is not welcome. He'll be shunned in public. You better stay at home, dad. Stay at home, all right?
other thing.
You do? And what's your...
But other thing.
But he does other things. What do you do, Josh? What do? You manage a child murderer, a statutory artist. What else do? You do other things. She thinks it's so funny. So everybody that wants to lie on me and say, "Oh, Ross was cracking jokes when I wasn't." I know the smear campaign that's going on against me because I've been speaking the truth for months before anybody turned up at that trial clap chasing. All right, I was talking about this for months, keeping this story alive. This fucking bitch, it's just cracking jokes, laughing. I'd love to see her in court. She won't be laughing. They'll wipe that smile off her face and his too. And trust me, when that civil suit comes, mogul vision. It's not going to be so mogully, is it? It's not going to be looking so your vision. You didn't really have the foresight. You guys might want to, you know what I'm saying? You guys might want to just get some, you might want to just get some collateral and them Birkins, them watches, because when that civil suit comes from Celeste's family, mogul vision might be losing its eyesight, all right? What else does your shitty excuse of a husband do for a living? Let us know.
But other thing.
You do? And what's
Oh, yeah?
your best advice for people just starting out? For other stay-at-home dads?
I don't want to hear no fucking advice from this piece of shit. This guy's a fucking douchebag, all right? I want to hear no advice. How about some advice? I'm actually getting so angry because of the things that I've seen this week, for the fact that these clowns are sat here laughing and joking is crazy. Consistency. What, loving children?
I love it, man. And what's your best advice for heels?
I would say put them on. They're gonna make you feel confident.
She's an airhead, right? I don't think she's ever done anything of note in her career that I've found. I did a quick Google search, couldn't find anything of note. She's a nobody, talentless hack. He is a disgrace that enabled a child murderer. And your advice for designing heels is put them on so that you feel confident. You guys definitely shouldn't be feeling confident. I'm confident that there's going to be a civil suit that is going to send you guys to the poorhouse. Like, I'm confident that, you know, your client is going to rot in hell and potentially get the death penalty, potentially going to get the needle, and your bank accounts are going to be facing the death penalty.
That's so cool. That's great advice. So cool. Did you design your heels?
I did. I designed these.
No way. That's so cool. How do people find your heels if they want to? Or find you if they want you to design?
Follow me. My Instagram is
Follow D?
D4VD. Yeah, follow
Oh, that's so
Yeah, don't follow her. She's a clown, all right? The only place that I would want to follow these people is to a police station. And I just think that these two are an absolute disgrace. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting and despicable. And I think these two should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. And they should both be staying at home and not be seen in public whatsoever. I think it's disgusting. Anybody that had anything to do with David, whether it's David's mother, you know, Rob Morgenroth, unless you're showing your face in public to actually come out here and, you know, testify, I don't think you should be showing your face in public. You are a disgrace. You're disgusting. And I think you should be ashamed of yourselves. And I think the public will never, ever, hopefully forget the role that you guys played in this, you know, systemic grooming, abusing, and murdering of a child. You guys are absolute just scum. Scum of the earth. Literally, you couldn't get lower than these two clowns.
That's so cool, man.
Oh, he does other things. I'm pissed off. I might need to take a break. Something about the way Josh Marshall is moving just isn't sitting right for me. For those who may not know, Josh Marshall is one of David's managers, and to my knowledge, he was the first person directly connected to David to publicly say anything about the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. Rest in peace to Celeste, because that's what this is all about. He was also the person whose name was on the Hollywood Hills mansion David was staying at, Sleaze. Not just staying at. No. This guy, all right, okay? This guy, let me just stitch him up with an even worse frame where he's just laughing, making a mockery of the situation, just so you know the state of these clowns, all right? This guy, his name was on the lease, right? Not just on the lease. That house was full of blood. The garage was full of blood, all right? And pretty much like a vast majority of the illegal videos of David sexually abusing this young'un were in that property. You enabled that. You provided the setting. You provided the staging. You gave David where he obviously couldn't sign to have a property because he couldn't be trusted. There's a reason that they want your name on the lease, because they want to know who's accountable for what goes on in that property. That's you. That's this fucking clown. That's you. So there's a reason that David wasn't supposed to be able to lease a property, because he was too young, dumb, and just out of control to do so, all right? He wasn't a minor. He was an 18-year-old who was out of control. You enabled that. You gave him a place. You gave him a safe haven, a sanctuary to groom and abuse this woman. Child. My bad. Child, right? Little girl. You and your company, Mogul Vision, provided the funding and the organizational capabilities to hire him a security guard that was in on Operation Awesome, the plan to go in the dead of night and to kidnap that little girl Celeste from her home so that she can go and live with him in the property you organized for this clown. The property where he filmed all of these illegal videos doing unspeakable things with her, and where he allegedly dismembered her in a kiddie pool in the garage, which was covered in blood. Absolute clown. His statement came in a TikTok comment previously, and he said, this is previously him trying to defend himself and play poor me. Oh, poor me. Oh, he's going through so much. Remember this face and the demeanor of these two, all right? Just before I read you the next bit, I want you to just like look how their mood. They don't look down bad. They don't look unhappy. He got the money green Rolex on, right? Yeah, big olive green anniversary, right? That's at least 50,000. Okay. Yeah. Flexing the watches, right? They don't look down bad. They don't look at it's so funny. It's so funny, isn't it? It's really funny what's going on. So that's what's going on with these clowns, right? So but back a few months ago, he said on TikTok, this video is false and this person is misinformed. This is the only time I speak on this matter for now. I received 0 emails and I'm no one's roommate. I live full-time at home with my wife and kids. I had 0 knowledge. David lived with a kid in a property that had your name on it, though. I had 0 knowledge of anything and I don't live in California. My job doesn't require me to have much interaction with any of my clients / David. And that was basically it. I heard in court that they damn near had no business other than David. There was nothing going on. I think they said something like for a brief period, they like helped out Ruby Rose with some stuff. But they basically, the guy that was the financial manager for Mogul Vision, they basically said the whole business revolved around David. You fucking liar. You liar. My job doesn't require with any of my clients / David. David was basically your only client from what I'm hearing in court, allegedly, in some people's opinion. And that was basically it. One statement and then silence until recently. I think there was more to this, no? I swear there was more. No, I found the full message, so I just want you to look at their faces before I read you the message, because this is their attitude to this whole situation, right? Oh dear. He said, this video is false. This person's misinformed. This is the only time I'll speak on this matter for now. This has been a tough time for my family as I'm a father of 3 children. I received no emails and I'm no one's roommate. I live full-time at home with my wife and kids. My daughter is 14 and this news is affecting so many lives. Who gives a fuck about your 14-year-old daughter? She's still alive. And you guys are flexing watches. You guys are flexing big AP, got the mini AP. Oh, it's so fun. Your 14-year-old daughter is alive. You're a fucking disgrace. You got absolutely 0 sympathy. This is affecting so many lives. It seems to be affecting your bank account. You flex some watches. And then he also said, I work remotely 95% of the time. My job doesn't require me to have much interaction with any of my clients / David. I'm hearing you only had one real client. As there are many others that work with him on a day-to-day capacity, not me. Who? Robert and a security guard that you guys have organized for him that was doing operations to kidnap little girls. The news is tragic for so many and for her family. Who so many? Who did you put in front of her family? There's no so many. I've been at the hearings for 4 days straight, and I didn't hear the news tragic for anyone else other than her family. What is tragic for you and your missus with your bank account? Don't look too tragic. Looks like you ball him. Looks like you got Birkins and APs and money green Rolexes and your bitch designing heels that no one cares about. What are you talking about? The news is tragic for so many and for her family. No. The news is tragic for her family, full stop. It's not tragic for anyone else. I had to sit in that courtroom and see that awful autopsy image that you will never see. You'll never confront that because you're a fucking coward, all right? I had to see that, and it's not tragic for me. Who gives a shit about me? It's not tragic for me. You're a disgrace. It is only her family, all right? It's tragic for her family, and that's it, all right? Maybe some of Celeste's friends, but you got no sympathy. This is not tragic for you because your business fell apart, and it didn't fall apart because you're still getting money. I hope the proper authorities get to the bottom of it soon. Let me remind people that a lot of this is speculation and alleged. In the meantime, I'm with my family helping them emotionally get through the news of this tragedy. Please report on factual information. How about this? Give me a break. You're an absolute disgusting mess. Josh and his wife Dee pops up in a rare couple-style Instagram reel interview. It was casual, lifestyle-focused, all about fashion, watches, jewelry, and money. The interviewer asks what they do for a living. Dee says she designs heels, but Josh's answer, I'm a stay-at-home dad. He said it jokingly, but I found it interesting. It's all a funny joke, isn't it? Interesting because this is someone who's repeatedly tried to distance himself from David publicly. While there's a lot suggesting he was much closer than he wants people to believe, Josh's statement paints him as someone barely involved, but public photos tell a different story. There are photos of Josh sitting in the same row as David's family and Celeste at the Fonda Theatre. Josh and his family were around David often. Wait. Rewind. Josh and his family was sat in the same row as David's family and Celeste. What, when Celeste was sat next to David's mom and David's brother in between the two of them, like a member of the family? Josh was on the same row. I thought you didn't have no involvement. But are you talking about, I didn't really have much interaction with any of my clients, but you was at the show with David and his minor. What? Photos of Josh at different events with David. David and his entire family attended Josh and Dee's wedding in Lake Como, Italy, where David performed. That doesn't sound like someone who has little interaction with their client. And then there's the email. In his TikTok comment statement, Josh denied receiving any emails, but it's been alleged that someone sent an email to Josh warning him about Celeste's disappearance, saying there's been talk of the artist David possibly having something to do with the disappearance of 13-year-old Celeste Rivas. What, you mean Operation Awesome? That your security that Mogul Vision provided to David allegedly was a part of the plan to support and pull up in the middle of the night to kidnap this 13-year-old girl from her home in Lake Elsnot. Operation Awesome. That your company, your security. I just heard that in court. So ain't no defamation, all right? I just heard in a court of law that that's what's going on. Allegedly. This is alleged at this point, all right? And in my opinion, I think the claims do have some validity. That's just my opinion, okay? But I heard in court that a bodyguard hired by Mogul Vision was driving David and Celeste around to nightclubs with fake IDs and was part of was allegedly part of Operation Awesome, plans to pull up to Celeste's this 13-year-old girl's house and kidnap her at 11:50 p.m. at night. So you didn't get no email. So in the middle of Operation Awesome, were you one of the soldiers, one of the generals or lieutenants of Operation Awesome, Josh? I really would just love to know that answer. I don't know. I'm just asking the question. The sender included Celeste's missing person flyer. What? The missing persons flyer that David was texting Celeste about, talking about, we just need to stop having like these flyers and these cops just getting in the way of our illegal relationship. That flyer that you never got sent. It's also been alleged that Josh screenshotted the email and sent it to David. What, in the middle of Operation Awesome, you screenshotted the missing poster and sent it to David? You're a bad father. Josh and Robert Morgan Ross Jr. also previously managed Lil Mosey during an R-word allegation scandal. Now, look, that's not necessarily that important. Okay, it says later Lil Mosey's sister made disturbing allegations involving Josh and Rob, including claims about coercion and alleged rituals. I don't believe in that either, to be honest with you. Look, Fair is fair. I think this guy's a despicable mess of a human and a disgrace to his namesake. But I don't think the Lil Mosey thing is actually what people were saying. So when I saw this Instagram reel, what stood out to me wasn't just the interview itself. It was the optics. I genuinely thought to myself, who is he trying to fool? I'll tell you who's trying to fool himself. Josh, you know deep down that what you did was wrong. You're ashamed. You're trying to cover it up, but you know you're trying to fool yourself, right? The watches, you know, the Birkins, you're trying to fool yourself into like, you know, this flex that you're happy when really it's blood money, and you know that all of the ill-gotten gains and all of the money that you made in your career was because of a despicable child killer. And it's blood money, it's tainted you and your family, the food on your family's table is tainted forever, and you should be ashamed of yourself as a man. So anyway, here is someone who's been repeatedly mentioned in connection to this case, made one public statement denying involvement and mentioning how hard it is for his family. Oh, boo-hoo, your family, your 14-year-old's alive still. And now appears to be casually moving on with life, attending fashion shows, talking luxury watches and diamonds, flexing wealth, and being seated with people like Russ. I don't know why Russ popping up in this is just random to me. Like, why are we what's sitting? Is sitting next to Russ is like, that's good. Like, he's so lucky he gets to sit next to Russ. Like, I don't know if I'd want to sit next to Russ. Anyway, and I just can't stop thinking how. How do you move on that easily when your client is at the center of something this disturbing? How do you go from this is tragic to casually flexing Rolexes and diamonds? She had an AP on as well, let's not forget. And let us not forget that Rob nor Josh have also not addressed Celeste's voice being on the album, which would have had to have been approved by management first. True. You guys are going to have to keep that money aside, because when Celeste's family's civil lawsuit comes down, and I see Celeste's family lawyer who is handling the civil suit, and look, I observed him in the courtroom and outside the court and a press conference outside. He is a shark. He is coming for everything you guys have got. You clowns are going to be going to the poorhouse, because this guy, this civil lawyer that is working on behalf of Celeste's family means freaking business. He is about to do the business. You guys are all going absolutely broke. You're going to the cleaners. This is going to be like OJ. You guys ain't even going to be able to write a book without the proceeds going to Celeste's family. Like, you should be scared. Like, Celeste's mum is going to be rocking that AP and that Birkin before you know it, and I can't wait. Says maybe Josh truly knows nothing. Maybe everything he said is true. But if that's the case, I still struggle with the disconnect. From the outside looking in, it feels crazy. Celeste's family still doesn't have answers. People are still trying to piece together timelines. And Josh, one statement, it was so hard for his family, then silence, then back to luxury. That's just too in your face for me to ignore. Also, let's just not forget the context. This, to me, I don't know where they are, but this area is giving private airport hangar, but I'm not sure. I can't be sure. But this area is giving private airport hangar, but I couldn't possibly know. Anyway, goes on to say, in real life, most people don't dwell on tragedy, especially when it doesn't directly affect them. It's also common for Hollywood people to flaunt wealth that they may or may not have. This is the thing. These guys might be behind closed doors shitting their pants thinking, oh my God, this civil lawsuit is going to bankrupt all of us. Celeste's family lawyer is fucking shark about to do the business and take us all to the cleaners. We need to act rich. I've noticed since kind of spending more time in Los Angeles, I've noticed so many people that don't really got shit going on love to play rich, love to play successful, love to play famous, and you know, a lot of it's smoke and mirrors, fake it till you make it. And the real people who are getting money, getting success, having motion in their careers, a lot of the real people who are really doing the business, they downplay, they're low key, they like, look, I know I'm getting it, like I'm cool, I'ma just focus on actually what's important. I don't need to rub it in people's faces. So I do wonder if this is even indicative of them actually panicking and realizing that they're going to be absolutely cooked and they need to keep up appearances to their rich friends. It's not just Hollywood, it's rich people in general. How will they feel superior than poor people if the latter don't know that they are different? These demons are despicable demons from hell. This MF really said he didn't know Celeste. What the fuck is wrong with everyone in this case? Lying when shit is so easily verifiable. Like when the court hearing and trial comes up, they will be feeling humiliated badly because of whatever image they were trying hard to keep up for themselves, like Asia and many others. Facts, it's disgusting. I don't understand what makes you think a manager is close with their clients. Like, I don't know if y'all are young, but it's obvious y'all think music relationships are like some special type of bond that he'd be able to know everything happening with David. A grown-ass man who got other priorities in his life is not going to be worried about who their client's dating. That's cap, because I was just in court and I was told that basically Mogul Vision whole business revolved around David, and they were employing a bodyguard to work for David who had apparently spent time staying at the house with David and Celeste. They were both living there together. They're all in the house, and you are employing these people, you fucking liar. All right? But anyway, let me give you a little bit more backstory, all right? Let me give you a little bit more backstory, okay? Since I am privy to information from the courthouse and also the internet research, all right? So Josh is the founder of Mogul Vision. This operated as both a management company and a record label business, okay? So Interscope Geffen A&M Records has formed a collaboration with Mogul Vision, founded by music industry entrepreneur Josh Marshall. That's interesting that that's public information, because I was just at the courthouse and they were telling me that Mogul Vision basically all revolved around David. It really all just revolved around one kind of main client, David. That was really the focus, all right? And, you know, Mogul Vision was founded in 2019 as a joint venture between Marshall and Sony Music Entertainment, owned Arista Records, that's focused on breaking extraordinary talent and building artists' careers through innovative A&R branding and marketing strategies. The label's initial signings include Atlanta rapper Blatina, who, Cleveland-born singer Kenny Hoopla, who, and Variety reported that at the time they also, they were set to release a debut EP called How to Catch a Falling Knife by singer-songwriter Gigi, who Marshall also inked a deal with rapper Ruby Rose. We heard in court that there was a little period where Ruby Rose was doing some stuff with these guys, and then she moved on to bigger and better things and stopped fucking with them, and then basically everything was all about David after that point. Oh no! Apart from his venture with Mogul Vision, Marshall manages a roster of artists including Lil Mosey and David. The latter has gained significant success with his hits Romantic Homicide and Here With Me, both released under the Darkroom Interscope label. Through Marshall, A&R exec Mateo Dorado discovered Latin singer Alicia, who recently, Dorado recently joined Atlantic Records, right? So, anyway, they're saying co-head of A&R at Interscope Geffen, they said over the last few years we've worked with Josh closely on a number of successful projects. He has an amazing ability to identify new artists across a number of genres, and we're looking forward to continuing our work with him via this deal. That's funny because, like, as far as I'm aware, the biggest artist he's discovered is David. And I'm not hearing too much else about his track record. It says he has an incredible track record of identifying unique artists early in their careers. All right, we're thrilled to welcome him into the IGA family. That has aged like milk that's been left in the sun. It's just a joke, right? So basically, let me just follow you up with some more proof to just rub it in his stupid little face, all right? Because them APs, all right, them APs and them rollies, all right, is just, you got to wipe the smile off his face. So this is David and his family at Josh Marshall's wedding in 2023, all right? Oh, no, is that Colleen Burr? That's not David's mom, is it? That's not David's mom who, when they asked in court, that's not David's mum who, when in court, they showed text messages from Celeste asking David if the mum knew that they had sex. And David said, she pretty much assumes that's the first thing we do when we see each other. That Colleen Burke. Okay, cool. At your wedding, you be hanging with. Is that Mr. David Burke? Is that David Burke? I just see him at the courthouse. He looks different here. Let me zoom in. Is that Mr. David Burke? And is that David's mom? And did David perform at this wedding? The newlywed times. Is that David right there? Oh, no, it's David at your wedding. At your wedding that you be hanging with. And that's David's mom was there. Receipts and her Insta is public. There's a video of him performing. His mom is also there. The TikTok account is real, and he really posted that message like I said it. His wife follows his TikTok account. Doesn't matter if the handle was changed when you take the connections. All right? I barely know David. I'm not even involved with my artist management, but they pull up to my wedding. They pull up to my wedding. Okay? It's crazy. His wife has a TikTok. She follows the J Mogul page on TikTok. That should confirm the Instagram page is real. All right? The man from the white by his mother is his father. Josh Marshall made that post, and if he didn't, he better get onto the media outlets who are reporting it as an official statement. I believe it is confirmed that it's true. It says, but he wasn't being truthful. He made it seem like he was totally hands-off, had no dealings with David, but he rented him the house, which seemed odd, and his red Tesla was parked in the garage. I think that was actually Rob's Tesla, to be honest with you guys, so I won't follow that up. I've got to keep it factual. Which seemed odd. David and his parents were at his wedding. You get the picture. Not to mention, SF investigators is livid at being called a liar. Not only did he double down and insist that Josh knew Celeste was a minor, but he located the email sent by her family and handed it to the LAPD. Interesting, all right? And people are trying to say, oh, renting him a house isn't really odd. It's part of his job as a manager. He was in that house making illegal videos with a minor, Okay, so that's what you were enabling. Next is this. All right, this is the email. This is the alleged email sent to, all right, David at Mogul Vision. He was managing this. Okay, there's been talk, or at least that's what's rumored. He's rumored to have been managing this allegedly, in some people's opinion. All right, he's denied it in that TikTok. Fair enough. All right, let's just, you know what I'm saying? He's denied ever receiving this. Seems like someone received this, and miraculously, Celeste was sent home not long after this. And bear in mind, the cops were knocking on the door a few days before this, asking, where's this minor that's missing? And I've seen the body cam, all right? And he's talking about, oh, she told me she was 18. We know that's cap. There's been talk the artist David possibly has something to do with the disappearance of 13-year-old Celeste Rivas. If that statement holds any merit, please do the right thing and take her home. Her parents are very worried, all right? And this is my guy, SF, explaining this. He said, since certain parties are now claiming there was no email letter sent to Josh's camp, I confirm with the author of that email it was sent and does exist. I can also confirm law enforcement requested a copy of the email and they're now in possession of it. I noticed the TikTok denial was about the letter by email. How come there was no mention of Celeste? How come there was no denial of knowing Celeste, or knowing she was a runaway, or knowing she was underage? Were you a lieutenant in Operation Awesome, Josh, by any chance? Can you answer that on TikTok? Send me a TikTok comment reply, because you are a disgrace and I think you should clean that up. Let me know if you were involved in Operation Awesome. Are you a veteran of Operation Awesome, Josh? Said, can you go on the record denying these things? If Josh will go on the record on social media with a verified account and deny all these things, I will happily retract my statement and wait for confirmation from law enforcement. He went on the record, but he was just like giggling and laughing with his bitch. That's all I saw from him on the record. So obviously this is the message. We've already seen that. Yeah. So yeah, Morgan Roth testified all day Monday before the LA grand jury at one point with half a dozen people in the hallway. Morgan Roth came out into the hallway, was talking to his lawyer so loud others could hear. He said, referring to Beth Silverman, the deputy DA presenting the case before a grand jury, she was being very pushy on why I didn't call the police. Why didn't you call the police? Did you call the security? The same security that was a veteran of Operation Awesome? I don't know. Since Josh Marshall swears up and down he didn't even work that closely with David and never read that email, is it possible that it was Robert Morganroth who was managing the email address on a daily basis instead, and that's why he was being grilled as to why he didn't call the police? With Robert being the general manager, it could be possible that he was more involved with the day-to-day stuff than Josh was. Not to absolve Josh of anything, seeing as there are photos of him attending the same shows that Celeste was at. Celeste was at those shows. That's your client. You think if somebody is the general manager of the company that manages David, has made $3.5 million, and I'm hearing they didn't already have many other clients. Them APs and Birkins and green face olive dial anniversary Rolex day dates, all right? I'm a nerd. Those weren't getting paid for unless your client was performing at that show, right? You were getting money off that show. David made $11.5 million, and you guys made like $3 to $4 million in the same period of time. So you would think that if you attended that show, you might be aware of your artist's girlfriend. You might shake hands with the artist's girlfriend. You might say, hey, you know, he's doing a good show. He's doing a good stay. Great to meet you. I personally, in my opinion, allegedly find it hard to believe that this guy was the GM, right? Was the GM of the management company, and he's at big headline shows, and he's not interacting with the artist's girlfriend, who just so happens to be underage. Me, in my opinion, personally, I just find it hard to buy. All right? It would be ridiculous if David's entire team knew of her existence except him. But Robert seems to be the one that the prosecution have focused on so far. I'm wondering why that is. Why didn't you call the police? Means there must be proof he knew something was going on. I'm thinking this might be it. David performed at his wedding. I agree, he definitely knew. He was even at the same show that Celeste was at. But it could be that he truly wasn't logged into the management email. And I think it would make more sense for Rob Morganroth to be looking at those emails if he's the one dealing with David's stuff on a daily basis. If Rob was the one with primary access, it would make sense for him to be grilled why he didn't call the police. I've always wondered this. Apparently she got sent home shortly after the email. I've had a few theories and ideas about it. In my opinion, it all depends on who had access to the email account. One, Josh found out because he received the email and made David send her home. He hung out with David occasionally, but was not his day-to-day manager. I always wondered if this triggered some sort of emergency meeting between David, Josh, and Rob, and they all agreed to send her home. Or two, Rob got the email, it triggered an emergency meeting, or he just didn't tell Josh, deleted it, and had a 1v1 meeting with David about damage control. He was the day-to-day manager, so it wouldn't surprise me if he spent a lot of time with David on a personal level and was around Celeste regularly and more aware of the relationship. Do you think he was managing Operation Awesome? What type of conversation Rob and or Josh had to have with David after receiving an email like this to allow something like this to continue without stepping in makes me sick regardless of who found the email. 3, David intercepted the email, deleted it, told no one, then told Celeste to pack it up for a few days while they figured out how to smooth things over with her family. Let me tell you why number 3 is definitely not possible. Because David wasn't bothered by the police coming to the house. He had a whole bunch of lies put together. And again, the question still remains, and we're not letting go of this one. Where was Celeste when the police knocked on the door? Because we saw the body cam footage. They searched the house. Celeste was not there. Where was she? Where was she? And was one of the lieutenants of Operation Awesome arranging somewhere else for her to be? I do wonder. So, said she ran away February 14th, 2024. Now we know she didn't run away. No, she didn't run away. She was a participant in Operation Awesome, where the generals and lieutenants of the operation used private security to kidnap her from her own home in Lake Elsinore in the night. Now we know that. You see, going back over all this Reddit stuff, now that I've been to the trial, not the trial, sorry, now that I've been to the hearings, like, y'all really can't pull the wool over people's eyes anymore. Like, the jig is up. Okay, the email was sent early 4 a.m. on February the 19th, and she returned home later that day. I found some comments saying her aunt posted on Facebook she was found stumbling around barefoot in Lake Elsinore, but I just looked and can't confirm it. Apparently, Rob said during his testimony he didn't feel it was his responsibility to report anything because his job was to make sure David's tour kept going. I don't know how much Josh knew if he wasn't on site that often, but I do think Rob and the other manager, Lane Cooperstein, definitely knew. Lane was in the background of some streams where Celeste was also present. It's hard to argue that nobody saw that email and she just coincidentally went home later that same day. Rob's testimony apparently took up to 3 whole days. He definitely knew something. Or David's momager got the email and forwarded it to David. End result is Celeste ended up back home. I personally don't think so, all right? That's my opinion, but I just don't think... David was willing to lie to the cops' faces. So I don't think an email was... I don't think he gave a shit about an email. And said, yeah, there were screenshots confirming this. The email was forwarded to David. He forwarded the email to her friend, and then she was found in Hollywood and brought back. I wish I could remember the name of the friend. I don't know if I've seen proof of that. The cops came to the mansion and picked her up. That's not true. Drove her 70 miles to her home. There should be record of this at the police station, or did David or his group drop her off at the station? Either way, cops were involved and transported her home. I hope someone can check into that. I've not seen any record of that, and that was not brought up in court, so I don't know if that's true. So let's keep going, all right? So shout out, all right? Shout out to Lauren Conlin, all right? Great journalist. Spent some time with her at the hearings. Brilliant journalist. Really, really proud to have met her and learned a lot of the business from her, from our discussions over the last few days. Really great person. So she works for Los Angeles Magazine, and she would later confirm that this email account did actually belong to Josh Marshall in this clip.
Lauren Conlin was the writer of that piece, also the host of the Outlier podcast, and she joins me now live. It was a really good break, you being able to connect with Josh Marshall to get him to confirm these things. Did he say anything else?
I wish I'd have asked her about this when I was with her now.
Did he mention anything about where his client David is right now?
No, Ashley, and truthfully, I saw these comments on TikTok on this random video. I could not believe it, and I'm thinking to myself, it's been weeks. There have been so many allegations. Josh Marshall has not said anything yet. So, you know, in order to file this story, I really had to make sure that it was him and these messages were authentic. So I messaged him, not really expecting to get a response. I did some diligence, so I was about 98% sure it was him. And he did write back, and he just confirmed that it was him, and he just stood by his statements, and that was it. So it really wasn't much of anything. However, I still am kind of in shock because...
By the way, this is the authorities searching David's home, moving Robert Morgenroth's red Tesla off of the black gym mats that were covered in blood, so that they could then spray Blue Star onto the ground, which then just lit up like a Christmas tree and basically showed that the garage was full of blood. Just for context for this old footage that we now know exactly what it all means.
The first time you speak out, why would you clap back, in the comment section of a random TikTok video? I do feel like he possibly has consulted with a lawyer, which is maybe why he didn't bring Celeste's name up at all. And he didn't really say anything else besides a denial of knowing anything. So who knows? But I was just really surprised.
Well, I was happy to get that clarification that the car license plate traced back to management, not him as manager. So it was interesting to hear him say, hey, hold it, that's not my car. The jury's out on that, but I'll take him at his word for now until we know otherwise. I want to ask you about this mystery email. This is just so curious, though. It's an email that apparently was sent to Josh Marshall. Again, this is the manager of the singer, David. And it's sent by, quote, adults in Celeste's life after her final runaway in 2024. Or rather, not her final runaway, one of her runaways in 2024. The day after the email, Celeste returns home, almost as though the email gets to David and Celeste, and they're like, go on, they're on to us. You better go home, right? The private investigator we talked to about this said that there is proof that the email was sent. Do you know at all if the email was received?
Well, according to Josh Marshall, he did not get any type of email. And this is what I think really possibly triggered him to write this denial. He was just like, no, I never received any email. I have no knowledge. And this statement was actually made on a live stream that I did. And I think what happened was it just got clipped by different TikTokers and different content creators. And the headline here was, Josh Marshall knows. What does Josh Marshall know? And he's like, what are you guys saying? I don't know anything. So it felt like it was important to him to clarify this. However, when I saw this, I did go back to my source, the private investigator that we both know. And he's like, nope, I stand by this. I see it right here. I'm looking at it. And not only that, Ashley, he said that his source behind this email sent it to law enforcement, and now it's in law enforcement's hands. So, I mean, it's definitely, wow. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a he said, she said here, but I'm trying to report both sides. I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to be unbiased and open-minded because...
So look, she had the actual conversation with Josh Marshall, right? And then that's basically as it went down back and forth. So he denied ever receiving the email, all right, but basically, Steve made it very clear that is really what was going on, that this was a real inbox, and it's pretty damning stuff. So let's keep on going over the absolute destruction of Josh Marshall. So there he is, all right, from Mogul Vision, all right? Mogul Vision, and it appears to see here that Celeste is actually in the line of vision for Josh Marshall. So his Mogul Vision appears to be looking directly towards the minor that his client, the basically only client for Mogul Vision, was dating at the time. All right, so he wants us to believe that we're a bunch of idiots and that we believe everything he says, but it's nonsense. There's Celeste with David's family. Oops, Daisy. All right, David's mom, David's sister, Celeste, and brother. Just put all the kids together, yeah? Cool. So you're a disgrace as well. And you know what? I'm gonna have smoke for David's mom soon as well. We're gonna see how that goes. But yeah, basically, Josh Marshall cheesing it up as always, man. He loves to just crack a little joke, a little smile, a little laugh. Just like he is here, he had the same stupid smirk on his face when he was looking right at Celeste. So anyway, all right, I didn't previously have permission to post this, but this context matters, and it needs to be discussed further about the Fonda Theatre 2024. Since my last post, it's become increasingly clear that there's more to this situation than that's been shared so far. Of course, the CEO of the management and music company Mogul Vision and David's manager has claimed that he had no knowledge of any of this. However, it appears that Josh Marshall may know more than he acknowledged in his TikTok comments. Josh was seated in the VIP balcony area on a couch right next to David's mother, with Celeste sitting close to her, laughing and having a great time with a child, while a child was reported missing for a third time, and he's still laughing and having a great time flexing. He's just got new watches now. So on February the 19th, 2024, Josh was reportedly sent an email regarding the disappearance of a 13-year-old child, along with a missing person flyer that included Celeste's pictures. The message clearly expressed that the parents were extremely worried and urgently asking for help in bringing her home. The very next day, Celeste returned to her home in Lake Elsinore. Josh Marshall later addressed accusations that he ignored warnings about Celeste. He denied receiving any emails and stated he had zero knowledge of anything. Josh seemed more focused on safeguarding his company's interests, his own priorities, celebrities than on the safety and well-being of a missing child, while deliberately providing false information about what he knew. He's got a child of the same age, so he should be ashamed. But anyway, sadly, when people have enough money and power, they can pay people off and groom underage girls very easily. Look how other celebrities have gotten away with it, all right? So this has been happening since the beginning of time. Great work. Mogul Music is David's record label management company and touring company. They've definitely been milking David, and such conflicts of interest probably align with a lack of ethics. Very typical in this industry when dealing with execs. They made $3 to $4 million off of this despicable PDF file. I'm wondering if the thing heard in the hallway about didn't call police was about when Josh got the email. All right. So yeah. So according to Reddit, Josh Marshall was way closer to David than he claimed. Not just at the wedding. All right. I'm gonna be careful. What I show you in this one. But they have, I believe, censored some faces. But this is kind of okay. They've censored the faces, so that's good. But I think let's run it, right? So this is basically like a vlog that's going around of the backstage on David's show and at Coachella. And you've got Robert Morgan Ross Jr. there, Celeste Herrera, the decoy Celeste. There's Oliver Jordan, Lane Cooperstein, who is the woman behind the curtain. This is Josh Marshall's daughter and friend are over there. Okay, fortunately they've been censored and covered up. You've got Asia there, clout chasing succubus. You know, you get the gist. All right, that's Josh Marshall grabbing his wife's butt. You know what I'm saying? She designing heels, getting the APZ. All right, he just a humble stay-at-home husband. He doesn't know what's going on. All right, he doesn't know what's going on. That's them with the fam, all still alive. All right, that's the Celeste-looking daughter. And yeah, you know, they're just all having a great time. And just living their lives like absolutely nothing happened. It says Josh Marshall, David's manager, made a single public statement via a TikTok comment and said it would be the only time he spoke on the matter. In the comment, Josh said he had no knowledge of anything. All right, we already heard all of the bullshit he said. I first saw concerns about these contradictions raised during Mark the Shark's YouTube live. Shout out to Mark the Shark. All right, which I'll link here for transparency. What really stands out is how much Josh's statement conflicts with documented proximity and access. First, the claim of limited interaction does not align with evidence showing Josh on tour with David. Hang on, let me just make a note of something that I need to do because I'm just going to be extra careful. All right. Cool. Including dates before Celeste's body was found, that directly contradicted the idea that he was removed from day-to-day operations or physical presence. This was not a public area or a casual environment. Coachella backstage access is tightly controlled and limited to artists, management, label staff, and approved guests. In the footage, the girls are not just simply present, they're interacting directly with David in artist-only spaces. Others seen in the same spaces included Asia, Celeste Herrera, and Neo, along with members of management and label leadership such as Lane Cooperstein, Robert Morgan Ross Jr., and Oliver Jordan. That raises serious questions. Who are authorized backstage access for minors? Under what safeguards? Forget the fact that you've got a PDF murderer monster. How are you authorizing your kid to be like in this environment? People be doing drugs, drinking at Coachella. That's not an environment for kids. And if Josh's role requires minimal interaction with David, how are family members gaining this access? There is more. That's such a good point. Like, you talking about, I barely know him, I barely chat to him. You got your kids all up in there with him. If you're a good father, you wouldn't have your kids around randoms that you barely have contact with. It doesn't go both ways. You can't say, oh, I barely know David. I can't be held accountable. I got nothing to do. I didn't even know what was going on. But you knew him well enough to bring your kids around him. So you're either a terrible father that brings your kids around PDF murdering monsters that you don't know shit about. You just willy-nilly bringing your 14-year-old around a guy that likes to R-word and kill 14-year-olds. Or you knew him well enough that you felt safe enough to bring your daughter around him. Which is it? So 4 months after the Coachella appearance in August of 2025, Josh shared a photo of his daughter that showed a noticeable shift in presentation compared to earlier images. I'm not speculating about why, I'm just pointing out when. That's fucking crazy, really, when you think about it. August 2025. Timing matters when evaluating how close management families were to this environment and why the situation would be especially difficult for any parent. Josh asked for empathy as a father, and that makes sense. When management is this close and families have this level of access, the risk stops being theoretical. This isn't about accusing anyone's child of anything. It's about asking why children were placed in these spaces at all and what responsibility management holds in allowing that access. Josh said this would be the only time he would speak. Cap. Cap. All right? Cap. Given the contradictions between his statement and the documented tour presence, backstage access and proximity, one comment does feel sufficient. Does not feel sufficient, especially when the safety of minors, his minors, is part of the conversation. People can draw their own conclusions. I'm simply laying out what is verifiable. I'm including several photos to provide context, all David's inner circle, label executives together in artist-only spaces. Okay? Anyway, you get the TLDR. Shout out to Mark the Shark. All right? So I'm going to breeze through a few more things just for you guys, or I'm not going to get too deep into the comments, okay? But the next one, all right, this is just 2 months ago, all right? This is just 2 months ago. So I don't know what they're saying. It's wedding season for David's Mogul Vision manager, Josh Marshall, and his wife. I guess this is them attending weddings, or this is the anniversary of the wedding. They're saying, remember when David and his entire family went to Josh Marshall's wedding in Italy in 2023? All the way out to Italy. Wait a fucking second. Italy? If you watch the video that I did, fuck me. If you watch the video that I did yesterday when I basically read you guys all of the messages between David and Celeste, you can go back and check. But in there is a message where David says, let me pull it up from a notebook. All right, David said to Celeste at one point, all right, this is insane. And I've got the date on this as well. Absolute joke. Absolute clown show. This was on the 9th of June, 2024, when Celeste was still 13. All right? Still on the 13th of June. He sent her a text message saying, I can't wait to move in together without cops bitching, baby. I'll see you more and take you out every day. She replied, I miss you so much. And he said, you're going to be with me everywhere. And then later on, he texted her again and said, 4-year vacation, slide back to get the rest of your documents. We dip out the country and we get married in Italy. He wanted to get married in Italy just like his boy, Josh Marshall. What, Lake Como, you were going to marry your minor in the same spot because you was there. Give me a break. He wanted to get married in Italy just like Josh Marshall. He was texting his minor girlfriend talking about, we're going to get your documents, we dip out the country and get married in Italy. Absolute joke. Insane. All right? It's wedding season 2026. Josh Marshall and his wife are here for it. Josh is sporting his Mogul M gold pendant, and his wife Dee just loves the man whose name was on the lease of the house Celeste was murdered in last year by his top client, some say only. These lovebirds know how to live the good life. All right, let's not forget he was at the same show. He got his pendant. He's got a little gold M that he wears on there. This guy's such a fucking cornball. He's such a cornball. And, she's got no class either. No style, no class. What even is this? You need to get back into the drawing room for that one. All these people knew and did nothing. You would think managers cared a little bit more about career-ruining allegations like grooming kids. They should have kept minors away from the damn stage, let they allowed this, including his family. So... So Josh Marshall's wife Dee, right? Let's talk a little bit more about her, right? Because I got buying for her too. She runs what's called an LTK creator storefront, okay? And basically this is where she promotes fashion products. And she basically earns commission when followers purchase stuff that she's shown off. So she's in a big ass crib with the glass on the stairs, right? These clowns live in an absolute lap of luxury, and she's kind of just become a walking mannequin, basically, like a living, breathing mannequin. I'm not sure if there's too much between her ears, but this is what she's on, all right? Non-stop, just Gucci shoes, selling all this stuff, and basically, if you buy one of the things that she's put on here, she'll get a cut of it, right? That's what she's got going on, right? That's what she's got going on. Now, what's interesting, okay, is there's all this talk of Mogul Vision. It's changed. Can I show you that? Hang on. There was talk that the company had become inactive as a Florida corporation, because it basically failed to file its annual report. But then people kind of worked out that there was another version of the company called Mogul Vision Latin that was still active, and it continued listing Josh Marshall as the manager of the company in 2026, which I'm going to show you carefully here. I don't want to show any addresses or anything like that, but we heard in court that there were different versions of Mogul Vision, different names: Mogul Vision LLC, Mogul Vision the management company, the Mogul Vision touring company, all this stuff. But at the end of the day, who cares? Because this clown is out here running around iced out. I'm just going to play you this once more and I'm going to wrap it up. But I hope this video has just made you understand how diabolical and shameless these people are. And fortunately, justice is coming for Celeste. And I think a civil court will eventually ultimately decide, you know, that these folks have made far too much money off of enabling a diabolical PDF murderer. So let me just play you this hit video one more time, just to show you how much these guys are clowns, and then I'll wrap it up and move on.
Excuse me, kind couple. I absolutely love your styles, man. Oh my gosh, the money green dial. Is that what it is? Or the Rolex? Oh, the olive. Dude, that's my favorite Rolex right there. And I love the mini AP. And the I buy and sell high-end watches and diamonds. What do you guys do for a living?
I design heels.
Really?
Imagine just being so ashamed of what you do for a living, you can't even bring it up.
That's so cool. And what about you?
I'm a stay-at-home dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Same thing.
That's so cool, man.
We are parents, but he does other things.
You do? And what's
He does.
your best advice for people just starting out? For other stay-at-home dads?
Consistency, love.
I love it, man. And what's your best advice for heels?
I would say put them on. They're gonna make you feel confident.
That's so cool. That's great advice. Did you design your heels?
I did. I designed these.
No way. That's so cool. How do people find your heels if they want to? Or find you if they want you to design?
First.
Follow me. My Instagram is
Follow D?
follow. Yeah, follow.
Oh, that's so
Don't follow them. They're clowns. And I think it's just disgraceful. And yeah, I think their day is coming. So we will see. And I will keep you guys posted on the diabolical downfall of these two morons. Absolute idiots, absolute clowns, and they should be ashamed of themselves. That's the end of the video, folks. See you soon.